I wake to the sound of machines beeping in steady rhythm, a metronome counting the seconds of my continued existence. The ceiling above me is white, sterile, punctuated by fluorescent lights that burn my retinas. My mouth tastes like copper and chemicals, and when I try to move my arm, I discover the IV line snaking into my vein, tethering me to a bag of clear fluid hanging beside the bed. "Mrs. Catherine Morrison?" The voice comes from my right, female and professional. "Can you hear me? Squeeze my hand if you understand." I try to speak, but my throat is raw, damaged. Instead, I manage a weak squeeze. "Good. You're in Mercy General Hospital. You were brought in last night in hypoglycemic shock. Your blood sugar was critically low when you arrived. Do you remember anything?" Fragments flash through my mind, like a broken film reel. The bedroom. Darkness. A sharp pain in my arm. No, that can't be right. I was sleeping. Then nothing. Then pain everywhere. My body convulsing. My son's face swimming above me. His mouth moving, forming words I couldn't hear over the roaring in my ears. "My son," I rasp. "Dylan. He's here. He saved your life, Mrs. Morrison. If he hadn't found you when he did..." She trails off, but the implication hangs heavy in the antiseptic air. The door opens and Dylan rushes in, his 16-year-old face pale and drawn, eyes red-rimmed. Behind him, moving slower, is my husband Marcus, 42 years old, tall and distinguished in his charcoal suit, despite the late hour and the circumstances. His hair is perfectly combed, his tie straight. Always so composed, my Marcus. "Cat." His voice breaks on my nickname, and he's at my bedside, taking my free hand in both of his. Thank God. Thank God. I search his face, those green eyes I fell in love with 14 years ago, the strong jaw, the slight cleft in his chin. He looks devastated, terrified. Tears stream down his cheeks. "Dad thought you were dead," Dylan says from the foot of the bed, his voice thick. "When I found you, you were shaking so hard, and your eyes were rolled back, and..." He chokes on the words. "What happened?" I manage to ask, though I'm not sure I'm asking them or myself. The doctor, I see her name tag now, Dr. Sarah Chun, steps forward with a tablet in her hands. "Mrs. Morrison, your blood glucose level when you arrived was 28 milligrams per deciliter. Normal range is 70 to 100. Anything below 70 is considered hypoglycemia. Below 54 is severe. 28 is..." She pauses. "You could have died. You would have if your son hadn't administered the glucagon injection." "Glucagon?" I'm confused. We don't have glucagon in the house. Why would we? "I found it in the bathroom cabinet. I remembered from health class. Someone's blood sugar drops, you give them sugar or inject glucagon. I didn't know what else to do. The ambulance was taking too long." Marcus squeezes my hand tighter. "He saved you, Kat. Our boy saved you." Dr. Chen is watching me carefully. "Mrs. Morrison, are you diabetic?" "No." "Have you ever been diagnosed with any condition that affects blood sugar? Hypoglycemia? Insulin resistance?" "No, nothing like that." "Have you been taking any new medications? Any dietary supplements?" I shake my head, and the movement makes the room spin slightly. "Had you had dinner last night?" "Yes, Marcus made salmon with asparagus and wild rice, around 7. Dr. Chen makes notes on her tablet. "And after dinner?" "We watched a movie, I had some tea around 9, then we went to bed around 10:30. "Any alcohol?" "A glass of wine with dinner, just one." She nods, still writing. "We ran a full toxicology panel, Mrs. Morrison. The results show a massive amount of insulin in your system, far more than your body would produce naturally, even in someone with severe insulin dysregulation." The room seems to tilt. "That's impossible." I'm afraid it's not. The insulin was introduced externally. Someone injected you with insulin. The silence that follows is deafening, only broken by the steady beep of my heart monitor, which begins to accelerate. "That's insane," Marcus says, his voice sharp. "Who would do something like that? How?" "That's what we need to determine," Dr. Chun says calmly. "Because of the nature of this incident, We're required to report it to the police. They'll want to speak with all of you." "The police?" Dylan's voice cracks. "You think someone tried to kill Mom?" The words hang in the air, ugly and impossible. I look at Marcus, expecting him to dismiss this absurdity, to provide some rational explanation, but he's staring at Dr. Chen with an expression I can't quite read. "There has to be another explanation," I say. "Maybe my body produced too much insulin. Maybe I have some condition you haven't diagnosed yet." Dr. Chen's expression is sympathetic but firm. "Mrs. Morrison, the levels we found are not compatible with any endogenous condition. This was exogenous insulin, pharmaceutical grade, administered in a large dose. Given the injection site we found on your upper arm and the circumstances, this was done by someone with access to you while you were unconscious or sleeping."
My arm. I remember now. That sharp pain in my sleep. I thought I dreamed it. "Wait," Marcus says suddenly. "The glucagon Dylan found, where did that come from? We don't have diabetic supplies in the house." Dylan shifts uncomfortably. "It was in the bathroom cabinet behind the medicine. I was looking for anything that might help and I found it." "That's very strange," Dr. Chen says. "Glucagon isn't something you typically have unless someone in the household is diabetic or at risk of severe hypoglycemia." A cold dread begins to creep through my veins, more chilling than the IV fluids. Someone put it there. "Kat," Marcus starts, "someone put insulin in our house, injected me with it, and left the glucagon there? Why? As an antidote in case they change their mind?" "You're in shock," Marcus says firmly. "You're not thinking clearly. There has to be a logical explanation." But the way Dr. Chen is looking at me tells me she's thinking the same thing Adam. Detective James Rivera introduces himself 2 hours later, a compact man in his 50s with salt and pepper hair and eyes that miss nothing. His partner, Detective Sarah Kim, is younger, sharper around the edges, with dark hair pulled back in a severe bun. They ask Marcus and Dylan to wait outside while they question me. "Mrs. Morrison," Rivera begins, his voice gentle, "I know you've been through a trauma, but we need to ask you some questions while the details are fresh. Can you walk me through your evening yesterday?" I repeat what I told Dr. Chen, adding details as they come back to me. Marcus cooking dinner. He loves to cook, always has. The movie we watched, some thriller I can't remember the name of now. Going to bed, Marcus reading on his tablet while I drifted off. "What time did your husband come to bed?" I don't know. I fell asleep. Maybe 11? "And you didn't wake up at all during the night?" "No, not until..." Actually, I remember a pain in my arm, but I thought I was dreaming. "What time was this?" "I don't know. It was dark. I just rolled over and went back to sleep." Detective Rivera and Kim exchange a glance. "Mrs. Morrison," Rivera says carefully, "who has access to insulin?" "No one. We don't have insulin." "The insulin had to come from somewhere. Is your husband diabetic?" "No." "Anyone else in the house? Relatives who visit?" "It's just the three of us, Marcus, Dylan, and me." "Any problems in your marriage?" Kim asked bluntly. The question hits me like a slap. What? No. We're fine. We're happy. No arguments lately? Financial problems? Infidelity? No. But even as I say it, doubt creeps in. Has Marcus seemed distant lately? Has there been something off that I've been too busy or too trusting to notice? "What about your son?" Rivera asks. "How's his relationship with you?" "Dylan, he's a good kid, honor roll student. He plays soccer. He's never been in any trouble." Teenagers can be unpredictable, especially with a non-biological parent in the house. Marcus isn't his biological father, but he's raised Dylan since he was 2 years old. They're close. "What about Dylan's biological father?" "David died when Dylan was 18 months old. Car accident." "I'm sorry," Rivera says, and seems to mean it.
So it's been you, Marcus, and Dylan for 14 years. Yes. Happy family? Yes. But I hear the uncertainty in my own voice now. They ask me more questions about my job as a marketing consultant, about our finances. Comfortable, not wealthy, but Marcus does well as a corporate attorney. About our friends, our neighbors, anyone who might have a grudge against me. When they finally leave to question Marcus and Dylan, I'm exhausted and more confused than ever. Someone tried to kill me. The words don't seem real even as I lie here hooked up to machines designed to keep me alive. The door opens again and I expect the detectives returning, but it's my best friend, Rachel, her blonde hair, wild mascara smudged, still in her pajamas under a thrown-on coat. "Oh my God, Kat!" She rushes to my bedside, grabbing my hand. "Dylan texted me. I came as soon as I could. What happened?" I tell her everything, watching her face cycle through shock, disbelief, and horror. "Someone tried to murder you. In your own bed. Jesus Christ, Kat." "They don't know that for sure," I say weakly. "Bullshit. You don't accidentally inject someone with insulin." She pauses. "Where was Marcus?" "Sleeping next to me, presumably." "Presumably?" "I was asleep, Rachel. I don't know." She leans closer, lowering her voice. "Kat, you need to think about this carefully. Who had opportunity? Who was in the house? Marcus and Dylan. Okay, and who would want you dead?" "No one." "Really? Think, Kat, your life insurance." "Rachel, stop." She's serious. "Who benefits from your death?" The question lodges itself in my brain like a splinter. Marcus is the beneficiary on my life insurance policy, $500,000. It seemed like a reasonable amount when we took it out 5 years ago, enough to pay off the mortgage and cover Dylan's college if something happened to me. $500,000 for my husband to kill me. No, I say out loud, Marcus wouldn't. He loves me. But Rachel's expression tells me she's not convinced.
They keep me hospitalized for 3 days while they monitor my recovery and run additional tests. Marcus visits every day, bringing flowers, books, my favorite lavender lotion. He holds my hand and tells me how terrified he was, how grateful he is that Dylan came home early from his friend's house. I want to sink into his embrace the way I always have, but something has shifted. I find myself watching him when he thinks I'm not looking, searching for signs of what? Guilt? Deception? The man I've loved for 14 years suddenly feels like a stranger. On the second day, Detective Rivera returns alone. "Mrs. Morrison, we've been investigating your case. I wanted to update you personally." He sits in the chair beside my bed, and I notice he looks tired. "We obtained a search warrant for your home. We found vials of insulin in your husband's home office, hidden in a locked drawer in his desk." The world tilts. "What?" "Your husband claims he has no knowledge of how they got there. He says someone must have planted them." "Do you believe him?" Rivera's pause is answer enough. "We also pulled financial records. Your husband has been making large cash withdrawals over the past 6 months, $10,000 total, in increments just small enough not to trigger automatic reporting." "What?" I can't seem to say anything else. Why? "We don't know yet. He claims he was planning a surprise for your 15th wedding anniversary next year, a trip to Italy. Says he was paying cash to various vendors to keep it secret." It sounds plausible. Marcus loves grand gestures, surprises. For my 40th birthday last year, he threw me a party at an upscale restaurant, invited 50 of our closest friends and family. But insulin vials hidden in his desk? "There's something else," Rivera says, and his tone makes my chest tighten. "Your insurance policy. Your husband increased the coverage 8 months ago from $500,000 to $1.5 million. The number hits me like a physical blow. $1.5 million. Did you know about this?" "No."
My voice is barely a whisper. The policy documents show an electronic signature from you authorizing the increase. I never signed anything like that. We're having it analyzed. If it's forged, that's insurance fraud in addition to attempted murder. You think my husband tried to kill me for insurance money? The words sound absurd coming out of my mouth. It's one theory. But Mrs. Morrison, I have to ask, have you considered that it might not have been your husband? Dylan? The suggestion is obscene. He's 16 years old. He saved my life. He also knew where to find the glucagon, which suggests he knew it was there. He said he found it looking through the cabinet in a house where no one is diabetic, behind other medications at 2 in the morning while his mother is seizing. That's pretty lucky. Or it's pretty convenient. No, I refuse to believe it. Not Dylan, the boy I carried for 9 months, nursed, raised, loved with every fiber of my being. Why would he? I demand. What possible reason? We looked into his biological father's estate. When David Morrison died, there was a life insurance payout of $200,000 held in trust for Dylan until he turns 18. If you were to die, that trust passes to him immediately, along with whatever he inherits from your estate. He's a child. He doesn't care about money. He's 16, which means he's old enough to drive, to have a girlfriend, to want independence. We've pulled his text messages. He's been arguing with your husband about college. Your husband wants him to go to state school. Dylan wants to go to Columbia. Price tag $75,000 a year. The conversation comes back to me 3 months ago over dinner. Dylan showing us the brochure for Columbia's engineering program, his eyes bright with excitement. Marcus explaining gently that it was too expensive, that he'd have to take out massive loans. Dylan's face shuddering closed after that. They'd barely spoken for a week after that. That doesn't mean he tried to murder me, I say, but my voice wavers. No, Rivera agrees, but it means he had motive, and he certainly had opportunity and means. After he leaves, I lie in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to reconcile the reality I thought I knew with this new, horrifying version. My husband or my son, one of them tried to kill me. Or possibly both.
They discharged me on the 4th day with instructions to follow up with my primary care physician and a pamphlet about surviving traumatic events. Rachel offers to let me stay with her, but I decline. I need to go home. I need to see them, talk to them, figure out the truth. Marcus picks me up from the hospital, and the drive home is silent except for the radio playing soft jazz. I study his profile, the slight furrow between his brows, the tightness around his mouth. Is that guilt? Or just concern for his wife who nearly died? Kat, he says finally, as we turn onto our street, the police are treating me like a suspect. They searched my office, my car. They've questioned my colleagues about our marriage. They found insulin in your desk. His hands tighten on the steering wheel. I don't know how it got there. You have to believe me. And the life insurance. He pulls into our driveway and shifts the car into park before turning to face me. I was going to tell you. I increased it because we need more coverage. Dylan's getting older, college is coming up, and if something happened to either of us. You forged my signature, Marcus. I used the electronic signature from our last policy renewal. I didn't think you'd mind. We've always handled finances together, made decisions together. I wasn't trying to deceive you. He reaches for my hand, but I pull away. Kat, please. You know me. You know I could never hurt you. Do I? After 14 years of marriage, do I really know what someone is capable of? Dylan is waiting inside, sitting on the couch, his laptop open but clearly not focused on it. He jumps up when we enter. Mom! He hugs me carefully, as if I might break. I'm so glad you're home. Thanks to you, I say, searching his face. He looks exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, his usually neat hair disheveled. "You saved my life, Dylan." Something flickers across his expression. Guilt? Fear? It's gone before I can identify it. That night, I lie in our bedroom, Marcus beside me, both of us pretending to sleep. The room feels different now, threatening instead of safe. Every shadow could conceal danger. Every sound could be someone approaching with another dose of insulin. Marcus's breathing evens out into the rhythm of sleep, but I stay awake, watching him. In the darkness, I remember all the reasons I fell in love with him. The way he stepped up to be Dylan's father when he didn't have to. The way he supported my career, picking up Dylan from school on days I had to work late. The way he still brings me coffee in bed on Sunday mornings. The way he could be lying beside me now, planning to finish what he started. Around 2 a.m, I hear footsteps in the hallway. My body goes rigid. The footsteps pause outside our door. I hold my breath. The doorknob turns slowly, and the door opens a crack. In the sliver of hallway light, I see Dylan's silhouette. "Mom," he whispers, "are you awake?" "Yes." He slips into the room, closing the door behind him. "Can we talk? Downstairs?" Marcus doesn't stir as I slide out of bed and follow Dylan down to the kitchen. He's wearing his soccer practice clothes, as if he'd been working out in the middle of the night. "Are you okay?" I ask, turning on the small light over the sink. "I need to tell you something about that night." My heart hammers. "What about it?" "I didn't come home early by accident. Chris's mom asked me to leave because..." He trails off, looking younger than his 16 years. "Because I was upset. I'd been crying." "Why?" "I heard you and Marcus fighting that afternoon. I came home from practice early, and you were in the bedroom with the door closed, but I could hear you yelling." "Dylan, we didn't fight that day. We barely saw each other that afternoon. I was working in my office all afternoon, and Marcus was at the firm until dinner." "No." His voice is firm. "It was around 4. I heard Marcus say something about getting rid of the problem, and you were crying, saying he was scaring you." Ice floods my veins. "I was in a video conference from 3 to 5. You can check my calendar." "But I heard..." He stops, confusion clouding his features. "I heard your voice. I'm sure of it." "Show me where you were standing." We go upstairs and he positions himself outside the closed bedroom door. I go inside and open Marcus's laptop, still sitting on his nightstand. His calendar application is open, showing a video conference scheduled for 4 that afternoon. With me. Or rather, with a recording of me. Because Marcus is resourceful and tech-savvy, and if he wanted to create an alibi, to make it seem like I was home and upset, he could have played a recording through the computer speakers. But why?
"Dylan," I say carefully, coming back into the hallway. "After you heard this fight, what did you do?" "I left. I went to Chris's house, but I kept thinking about it, worrying about you. So I came home early, around 11. The front door was unlocked, which was weird. And when I came upstairs, I heard this weird sound from your room, like choking. That's when I found you." "The glucagon you used? You're sure it was in the bathroom cabinet?" "Yeah, I was panicking, looking for anything that might help, and I saw it behind the Advil." "Had you ever seen it before?" "No, but I wasn't really looking before, you know?" "I do know. We're all guilty of not really seeing what's right in front of us." "Dylan, did you tell the police about the fight you heard?" "No. Should I?" Before I can answer, the bedroom door opens, and Marcus appears, squinting in the hallway light. "What's going on? Kat, you should be resting." We're just talking, I say. At 2 in the morning? He looks between us, and I see suspicion creeping into his expression. What are you talking about? Nothing, Dylan says quickly. I was just checking on Mom. Marcus studies his stepson for a long moment. You should get back to bed. School tomorrow. Dylan hesitates, glancing at me, then nods and retreats to his room. Kat, Marcus says once we're alone, you can't seriously suspect Dylan. Can't I? Can't I suspect anyone now? He's your son. And you're my husband, but someone tried to kill me, Marcus. The police found insulin in your desk. You forged my signature on an insurance policy worth $1.5 million. You've been withdrawing large amounts of cash, all of which I've explained. Have you? Because your explanations are starting to sound like lies. His face hardens. You don't mean that. Don't I? I'm shaking now, fear and rage and grief all tangled together. Tell me the truth, Marcus. Did you try to kill me? The silence stretches between us, and in that moment I see something in his eyes, hurt, anger, and something else I can't identify. If you have to ask me that, he says quietly, then our marriage is already dead. He turns and walks back into our bedroom, closing the door firmly behind him. I stand in the hallway, surrounded by the remnants of my fractured life, and realize that even if my body survived, something fundamental died that night when insulin flooded my system. Trust, safety, the certainty that I knew the people I loved. All of it gone. I spend the next day calling lawyers. Rachel recommends a divorce attorney, but I'm not ready for that step yet. Instead, I hire a private investigator named Linda Walsh, a former police detective who specializes in domestic cases. I need to know the truth, I tell her over coffee at a cafe 3 blocks from my house. I couldn't bear to have her come to the house, to contaminate that space further with suspicion and investigation. Linda is in her early 60s with iron gray hair and sharp eyes that evaluate me with the same intensity I'm using on my own family. The truth isn't always what we want to hear, Mrs. Morrison. I'm aware. And if I find evidence that your husband or son tried to kill you, you'll need to be prepared for the consequences. Criminal charges, trial, prison time. The words make me flinch, but I nod. I understand. Tell me everything, from the beginning. I do, including the detail about Dylan hearing a fight that I'm certain never happened. Linda makes notes on a tablet, occasionally asking clarifying questions. The fake fight is interesting, she says when I finish. If your husband staged that, it suggests premeditation. He was creating a narrative, a reason for you to be upset or afraid, perhaps setting up a suicide scenario if the insulin killed you. The thought makes me nauseous. Suicide? Despondent wife, troubled marriage, injects herself with insulin. It's not unheard of. Except your son's testimony about hearing you fight would have complicated that theory if you died. Unless what? Unless Dylan was supposed to sleep through it. Unless he wasn't supposed to come home early and find you and save you. I set down my coffee cup because my hands are shaking too badly to hold it. You think Marcus planned for me to die and planned to blame it on suicide? It's one possibility, though the glucagon in the bathroom suggests someone wanted an antidote available, which contradicts a suicide scenario. Unless the glucagon was Dylan's, placed there without Marcus's knowledge. You think they were both involved, working together? I think we need to investigate all possibilities without jumping to conclusions. She closes her tablet. I'll need access to your home, your computers, your financial records, and I'll need to interview some people without your husband's knowledge. Can you arrange that? Yes. I'm already mentally cataloging which days Marcus works late, when Dylan has soccer practice. One more question, Linda says. Do you love your husband? The question catches me off guard. What does that have to do with anything? Everything. Because if I find evidence he tried to kill you, you'll need to decide whether to prosecute. And love makes people do irrational things, forgiving things. If he tried to murder me, I say slowly, then the person I loved doesn't exist anymore. Fair enough. She stands, gathering her things. I'll be in touch. Meanwhile, watch your food and drinks, sleep with your door locked, trust no one. The advice sounds paranoid, but given that someone has already tried to kill me once, it's probably just prudent. I follow her suggestions. That night, I eat dinner with Marcus and Dylan, but I watch Marcus prepare the food, watch the plates from stove to table, eat from a serving dish before they do. Both of them notice my behavior, but say nothing. After dinner, I install a lock on our bedroom door, a small brass bolt that Marcus stares at like it's a snake. Seriously, Kat? Someone tried to kill me in my sleep, Marcus. Excuse me for wanting to feel safe. And you don't feel safe with me? Right now, I don't feel safe with anyone. I see the hurt flash across his face, but I ignore it and climb into bed fully dressed, my phone clutched in my hand, 911 already pulled up on the screen. Sleep is a long time coming. Chapter 6. The Other Woman. Linda calls me 3 days later with her first update. I meet her at the same cafe, ordering a green tea I can't stomach drinking. I've been following your husband, she says without preamble. And I found something. My stomach drops. An affair? I don't know yet, but twice this week he's left work early and driven to an apartment complex in Riverside. He parks his car in the visitor lot and goes into Building C. He stays for about an hour, then leaves. Do you know who he's visiting? I'm working on it. But here's where it gets interesting. She slides a photo across the table. It shows Marcus walking toward Building C, and in the background, barely visible, is a woman entering the same building. She's in her 30s, blonde, attractive. Do you recognize her? I study the photo, but the woman is too far away, the angle too poor. No. Her name is Jennifer Holbrook. She works at your husband's law firm. Junior associate, hired about 8 months ago. 8 months? The same time Marcus increased my life insurance policy, the same time the cash withdrawals started. Are you sure it's her apartment he's visiting? Not yet, but I will be. Over the next week, Linda gathers more evidence. Photos of Marcus and Jennifer leaving the building together, though they get into separate cars. A copy of Jennifer's lease agreement. Her apartment is 3C, and Marcus has been caught on the building's security camera entering and exiting that floor. But there's more. I pulled Jennifer's financial records, Linda says. She's been receiving regular cash deposits, $2,000 a month, for the past 6 months. $12,000, close to the amount Marcus withdrew. So he's giving her money. For what? That's the question. If they're having an affair, it's an expensive one, but there's something else. She opens a folder and pulls out another set of documents. Jennifer Holbrook was a pharmacy tech before she went to law school. She worked at Riverside Medical Supply for 3 years. Riverside Medical Supply. They supply hospitals with medications, including insulin. The pieces click into place with nauseating clarity. Marcus is having an affair with a woman who has access to pharmaceutical-grade insulin. He's been giving her money, paying her for something, maybe paying her to help him kill me. But I need proof. I need to know for certain before I destroy what's left of my family. I want to talk to her. That's not advisable. If she's involved in attempted murder,
I don't care. Set up a meeting. Tell her I know about her and Marcus, and I want to discuss it privately. No police, no lawyers. Just 2 women having a conversation. Linda looks skeptical, but nods. I'll see what I can do. 2 days later, I'm sitting in a Starbucks in a strip mall 15 miles from my house, waiting for Jennifer Holbrook. She arrives 10 minutes late, looking nervous, her blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail, minimal makeup, dressed in jeans and a sweater. She's prettier than her photo, with delicate features and wide blue eyes that scan the coffee shop as if looking for threats. "Mrs. Morrison," she says, sliding into the chair across from me. "Catherine, please. I think I know why you wanted to meet." "Do you?" "You think I'm sleeping with your husband." I wait, letting the silence do the work. "I'm not," she says. "I promise you. There's nothing romantic between Marcus and me." "Then why have you been meeting him at your apartment? Why has he been giving you money?" She pales. "You've been following us?" "Someone tried to kill me. I'm taking precautions." Jesus. She looks down at her hands, twisting them together. "Okay, I'll tell you. But you have to understand, I thought I was helping." "Helping with what?" She takes a deep breath. "Marcus hired me to help him investigate you." The words don't make sense. "What?" "He said you thought you were having an affair. He wanted me to follow you, check your emails, your phone records. He couldn't do it himself because you'd notice, so he hired me." I'm stunned into silence. "I needed the money," Jennifer continues. "Law school loans are crushing me, and the firm doesn't pay associates well. Marcus offered me $2,000 a month, cash, under the table. All I had to do was surveil you a few times a week and report back." "And did you find evidence of an affair?" "No, because you're not having one. You go to work, you come home, you have lunch with your friend Rachel sometimes. You're basically the most boring subject I've ever followed." "Why would Marcus think I was cheating?" "He said you'd been acting distant, coming home late, being secretive with your phone. He said he loved you, but needed to know the truth." Everything she's describing is false. I haven't been distant or secretive. I come home at the same time every day, and I leave my phone lying around constantly. Unless Marcus was creating a narrative, building a case for why our marriage was troubled, why I might be suicidal, why my death would make sense. "Jennifer, did Marcus ever ask you to get him insulin?" Her eyes widen. "What? No, why would—" She stops, understanding dawning. "Oh my God, the insulin. Someone tried to kill you with insulin. Did he ask you?" "No, I swear. I haven't worked at Riverside Medical in over 2 years. I don't have access to drugs anymore." I want to believe her. She seems genuine, frightened, but I've been wrong about people before. "Show me your correspondence with Marcus. Text messages, emails, everything." She hesitates, then pulls out her phone and hands it to me. I scroll through her message thread with Marcus. It's exactly as she described. Him asking me to follow me on certain days, her reporting back that I went to work, met Rachel for lunch, went grocery shopping. There's nothing about insulin, nothing about murder. But absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. "Can I see your bank statements? The deposits Marcus made?" She pulls up her banking app and shows me regular deposits of $2,000 starting 8 months ago. The most recent one was a week before I was poisoned. "He hasn't paid you since?" "No. After what happened to you, he texted me saying the investigation was over and he wouldn't need my services anymore." I leave the meeting with Jennifer more confused than ever. If she's telling the truth, and my instincts say she is, then Marcus was investigating me for an affair that never happened, which means either he's paranoid or he was manufacturing evidence to support a motive for my supposed suicide. Or there's a third option I haven't considered yet. When I get home, Marcus's car is in the driveway. It's only 3 in the afternoon. He should still be at work. My pulse quickens as I enter the house. "Marcus?" In the kitchen. I find him sitting at the kitchen table, a bottle of whiskey in front of him, half empty. His tie is loosened, his shirt wrinkled. He looks like he's aged 10 years since this morning. "I got fired today," he says, without looking up. I freeze in the doorway. "What?" "The senior partners called me in.
said that having a lawyer under investigation for attempted murder was bad for the firm's reputation. They put me on indefinite leave, which is code for clean out your desk. Marcus, 16 years I've been with that firm. 16 years of late nights and weekend work and bringing in clients, and they toss me out like garbage because my wife thinks I tried to kill her? The accusation in his tone makes me bristle. Someone did try to kill me. But not me. He slammed his hand on the table, making me jump. How many times do I have to say it? I did not hurt you. Then explain the insulin. Explain the insurance policy. Explain Jennifer Holbrook. His face goes white. How do you know about Jennifer? I had you followed, the same way you had me followed. He stares at me, and I watch his expression cycle through surprise, anger, and finally, resignation. She told you everything. That you hired her to investigate me for an affair I'm not having. You were distant, Kat. I wasn't. You made that up. You created a narrative that didn't exist. He stands abruptly, swaying slightly. You think you know everything. You think you figured it all out, but you don't know anything. Then tell me. I can't. His voice breaks. I can't tell you, because if I do, everything falls apart. It's already fallen apart. Marcus. He laughs, a bitter, broken sound. You have no idea how much worse it can get. He pushes past me, and I hear him climbing the stairs, then the slam of his office door. I stand in the kitchen shaking and pull out my phone to call Linda. I need you to dig deeper, I tell her when she answers. Something else is going on here, something Marcus won't tell me. Already on it, she says. I've been pulling his financial records beyond the cash withdrawals. Catherine, your husband is in serious debt. What? That's impossible. We have savings. His salary is garnished, has been for 8 months. He owes back taxes to the IRS, nearly $200,000. The number stuns me. How? Bad investments, from what I can tell. He put money into a startup that collapsed. Then he tried to recoup the losses through cryptocurrency trading and lost even more. He's been hiding it from you. $200,000? The insurance policy that would pay out $1.5 million. He needed me dead, I say slowly. Not because he doesn't love me, because he's desperate. It's a motive, Linda confirms. But there's more. I tracked down the source of the insulin. It didn't come from Jennifer's old employer. It came from a Canadian online pharmacy. Your husband ordered it 6 months ago, shipped to his office. Can you prove it? I'm working on getting the documentation. But Catherine, if he's this desperate, this cornered, he might try again. You need to be careful. After we hang up, I sit at the kitchen table where Marcus was sitting, and I try to reconcile the man I married with someone capable of murder. The Marcus I know is proud, sometimes too proud. He'd hate being in debt, hate feeling like a failure. He'd do anything to fix it, to restore his status, his sense of control. Even kill me? The thought sits heavy in my chest. I want to believe in his innocence, but the evidence keeps mounting. The insulin, the life insurance, the debt. The motive, means, and opportunity all line up. But something still doesn't fit.
Dylan. Why would Dylan have glucagon ready? Why would he come home early? If Marcus planned this, why didn't Dylan sleep through it? Unless Dylan wasn't supposed to be home at all. Unless something went wrong with Marcus's plan and Dylan's early arrival was the variable that saved my life. Or unless Dylan was supposed to find me dead and Marcus made sure the glucagon was there to frame him. My head spins with possibilities, each one more horrifying than the last. I need to talk to Dylan, really talk to him, without Marcus overhearing. I catch Dylan after school the next day, suggesting we go out for coffee. He agrees readily enough, probably relieved to get out of the house and away from the tension that's been suffocating us all. We go to a local cafe where they know him, where he orders his usual caramel macchiato and I get herbal tea. We sit in a corner booth and I watch him fidget with his cup, avoiding my eyes. Dylan, I need to ask you some questions and I need you to be completely honest with me. Can you do that? He nods, still not meeting my gaze. The night I was poisoned, why did you really come home early? I told you, I was upset. The truth, Dylan. I know there wasn't a fight that afternoon. So what really happened? He's silent for a long moment, and when he finally looks up, there are tears in his eyes. Dad asked me to come home, he whispers. He texted me around 10:30, said he needed me to come back, that it was an emergency. My blood runs cold. What kind of emergency? He didn't say, just that I needed to come home right away, but not to tell anyone, not even Chris. So I made up an excuse and left. But when I got home, everything seemed normal. The house was quiet. I thought maybe it was a false alarm, so I went upstairs to check. That's when I found you. And the glucagon? How did you know where it was? He looks down at his cup. Dad showed it to me. 3 days before. He said you'd been having issues with low blood sugar, that you'd been to the doctor and they prescribed it as a precaution. He showed me where it was and how to use it in case of an emergency. The pieces fall into place with sickening clarity. Marcus planned it all. He primed Dylan, positioned him perfectly to either be the hero or the scapegoat. If I died, Dylan would have been the one who found me, who knew where the glucagon was, who had motive through his biological father's trust fund. Marcus was setting up his own stepson to take the fall. Dylan, did your dad ever talk to you about me dying? About what would happen if something happened to me? Yeah, actually. About a month ago. He said we should have a conversation about end-of-life stuff, what my wishes would be, what yours were. It seemed morbid, but he said it was important to be prepared. He asked if he knew how much your life insurance was, if he knew who the beneficiaries were. And what did you tell him? That I didn't know, that I didn't want to think about you dying. I reach across the table and take my son's hand. Dylan, I need you to understand something. You didn't do anything wrong, but I think your dad was trying to use you. Use me how? I hesitate. He's 16, still a child in so many ways, but he deserves the truth. I think he was planning to hurt me and make it look like you did it. Dylan's face crumples. No, Dad wouldn't. He loves you. He loves both of us. I know he does. Or at least, he did. But people do terrible things when they're desperate. Desperate for what? I tell him about the debt, the insurance policy, the insulin order. I watch him process it, see the denial war with understanding on his young face. So he really tried to kill you, and he was going to let me take the blame. But he did text you. That's what I don't understand. Why save me if he wanted me dead? Dylan stares at his coffee, thinking. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he couldn't go through with it. It's possible. People do have last-minute regrets, attacks of conscience, but something about it still doesn't feel right. Dylan, I need to see that text, the one where he asked you to come home. He pulls out his phone and scrolls through his messages. Here. The text is from Marcus's number. Come home now, emergency. Don't tell anyone. Sent at 11:47 p.m. Can I see your phone for a minute? He hands it over, and I navigate to his location history. It shows him leaving Chris's house at 10:52 p.m., 5 minutes after receiving the text. He arrived home at 11:08 p.m. I pull out my own phone and check the timestamp on when the ambulance was called. 11:14 p.m.
6 minutes after Dylan arrived home. I go to Marcus's location history. He's on my family tracking app, something we set up years ago for safety. On the night in question, his phone was at home all evening. He didn't leave. Except that doesn't mean he was in our bedroom. The house is large enough that he could have been anywhere. His office, the garage, even outside. "Did you see your dad when you got home?" I asked Dylan. "No. The house was dark and quiet. I went straight upstairs to my room first. Then I heard the noise from your room and went to check. And after you found me, after you gave me the glucagon and called 911. Dad came running in. He was in his pajamas. He looked terrified." Pajamas. Marcus was in pajamas, as if he'd been sleeping, as if he had no idea anything was wrong. "Dylan, think carefully. Could your dad have been asleep when you got home?" He frowns, thinking back. "I don't know. Maybe. He seemed really out of it at first, like he'd just woken up." An alternative scenario forms in my mind, one I don't want to consider but can't ignore. What if Marcus didn't send that text? I contact Linda immediately and ask her to have the text analyzed. She calls me back 6 hours later with results that turn my world upside down again. The text was sent from Marcus's phone, she says, but not from his location. The cell tower data shows it pinged from a location 3 miles from your house, near a shopping center on Bradshaw Avenue. That's impossible. Marcus was home that night. His phone was home, or at least a phone with his SIM card was, but the phone that sent the text to Dylan was somewhere else. Someone cloned his phone? It's possible, or if someone had access to his phone earlier and sent a delayed text. There are apps that can do that. My mind races. Who would have access to Marcus's phone? Anyone in your household. You, Dylan, or anyone Marcus gave his phone to, even briefly. Dylan wouldn't. I'm not accusing anyone yet. I'm just laying out the facts. Someone sent that text from Marcus's phone, calling Dylan home at the exact right time to save your life. That person either wanted to save you or wanted Dylan to be the one to find you. After we hang up, I sit in my car in the parking lot of a grocery store, trying to make sense of it all. If Marcus sent the text, he was trying to save me, which means he had regrets, but the cell tower data says he didn't send it. If Dylan sent it, he was orchestrating the whole thing, which seems impossible. He's 16. He's my son. He couldn't be that calculated, that cold. But teenage killers exist. And Dylan had motive. His father's trust fund, freedom from a stepfather who was pushing him toward a college he didn't want. Or there's a third option, someone entirely different. I think about our lives, our routines. Who has access to our house? Rachel has a key, but she was home with her husband that night. I already confirmed that with her. Our cleaning service comes on Tuesdays. The landscapers work outside only. Then I remember. Marcus's mother, Eleanor. She lives an hour away but visits occasionally. She's never warmed to me. I've always suspected she thought Marcus could have done better than a widow with a toddler. She has a key to our house, and she adores Dylan, her only grandchild, biological or not. Would Eleanor try to kill me to free her son from a marriage she never approved of? Would she frame Marcus or Dylan to protect herself? It sounds absurd, but no more absurd than any other scenario I've been considering. I drive to Eleanor's house, a tidy ranch in a retirement community. It's 4 p.m. and her car's in the driveway. I ring the doorbell, and she answers after a moment, her face registering surprise. "Catherine, what are you doing here?" "We need to talk, Eleanor." She hesitates, then steps aside to let me in. Her house is exactly as I remember.
Neat to the point of sterility, decorated in shades of beige and cream, family photos arranged on every surface. Most of them feature Marcus and Dylan. Very few include me. I heard about what happened, she says, leading me to her living room. It's terrible. Do they know who did it? Not yet. That's why I'm here. She sits in a wingback chair, her posture perfect, her hands folded in her lap. At 73, Eleanor Morrison is still a formidable woman, tall, slim, with silver hair cut in a precise bob. What do you think I can tell you? She asks. Where were you the night I was poisoned? Her eyes narrow. You can't seriously think I had anything to do with that. Answer the question, please. I was here, at home, alone. Can anyone verify that? I don't need anyone to verify it. I'm not a suspect. Everyone's a suspect, Eleanor. Someone tried to kill me. Someone with access to my house, to Marcus's phone, to pharmaceutical insulin. Well, it wasn't me. I may not have been your biggest fan, Catherine, but I'm not a murderer. Not your biggest fan. That's an understatement. You've never thought I was good enough for Marcus. He has the grace to look uncomfortable. That's not true. Yes, it is. You've made it clear in 100 small ways over the years. The comments about how young I was when we got married, the suggestions that Marcus should have married someone from a better family, the way you always take his side in any disagreement. I want what's best for my son.
And you thought what was best for him was for me to be dead? Eleanor stands abruptly. Get out of my house. Not until you tell me the truth. Were you involved? No. Her voice is steel. I was not. And you're delusional if you think I was. Marcus loves you. God knows why. He stood by you through everything, raising another man's son, supporting your career. And this is how you repay him? By accusing his family of trying to murder you? The insulin was ordered from his work computer, Eleanor. The life insurance policy was forged with my signature. He's in debt up to his eyeballs and was desperate for money. The evidence all points to Marcus. Then maybe you should look more closely at the evidence, she snaps, because my son is innocent. How can you be so sure? Because I know him. I raised him. He's a good man. Good men do terrible things when they're backed into corners. She walks to the door and opens it. This conversation is over. Leave, Catherine, and don't come back here with these accusations. I leave, but I'm more suspicious than ever. Eleanor was too defensive, too quick to dismiss my questions. She's hiding something. I call Linda from my car. I need you to investigate Eleanor Morrison, Marcus's mother. Full background check, financial records, phone records, everything. You think the mother-in-law did it? I think everyone's lying about something, and I'm going to find out what. Linda's investigation into Eleanor takes 3 days. When she calls me with the results, I'm at Rachel's house, having moved out of my home temporarily. I couldn't stay there anymore, sleeping in a room where someone tried to kill me, eating meals with people who might want me dead. Eleanor Morrison is clean, Linda says. No debt, no suspicious activity, no motive I can find. She was home the night of the poisoning. I confirmed it with her neighbors. One saw her taking out her trash around 10 p.m. Another saw her lights go off around 11. If she was involved, she had an accomplice. Damn it. But I found something else. Something you need to hear. What? I've been monitoring Marcus's phone legally through the tracking app you already have access to. Yesterday, he made a call to a number I didn't recognize. I traced it. It belongs to a bail bondsman. A bail bondsman? Why would Marcus need... I stop. He's planning to run. That's what I thought. So I put extra surveillance on him, and last night, he went back to Jennifer Holbrook's apartment. I thought he stopped seeing her. He did for a while, but he went back. I followed him in and managed to get some audio from the hallway. She pauses. Catherine, I'm going to send you the recording, but I want to warn you, it's not what you think. She sends the file and I play it on Rachel's laptop, my hands shaking. Marcus's voice comes through, strained and desperate. Can't keep lying to her, Jennifer. She knows too much. Jennifer, then tell her the truth. Tell her everything. Marcus, I can't. If she finds out, she'll leave me. She'll take Dylan. I'll lose everything. Jennifer, you're going to lose everything anyway if you don't come clean. The police are closing in. They think you tried to kill her. Marcus, I know. God, I know. But I didn't. You have to believe me. I didn't hurt her. Jennifer, I believe you, but Catherine doesn't, and neither do the police. There has to be a way to fix this, to make her understand without telling her the whole truth. What truth, Marcus? What are you so afraid of her finding out? A long pause. That Dylan isn't mine. The recording continues, but I don't hear it anymore. The words echo in my head, reshaping everything I thought I knew. Dylan isn't Marcus's. But I knew that already. Dylan is David's son, from my first marriage. Marcus adopted him when we got married. He's always known Dylan wasn't his biological child. Unless that's not what he means. Unless he means Dylan isn't mine. The thought is so absurd, so impossible that I almost laugh. I carried Dylan for 9 months. I gave birth to him. I have the photos, the hospital records, the birth certificate with my name on it. Except that I don't have photos from the hospital. I've always meant to organize them, but never got around to it. And Dylan's baby pictures, now that I think about it, there aren't many. A few from when he was 6 months old, more from his first birthday onward. But those early months are sparsely documented. I gave birth to Dylan at Riverside General. High-risk pregnancy due to my age, I was 32, which they considered advanced maternal age. I had an emergency C-section at 36 weeks. But I was unconscious for part of it, complications with anesthesia. When I woke up, David was holding a baby, telling me it was our son. Could I have been given the wrong baby? No, that's impossible. Hospitals have protocols, ID bracelets, footprints. But mistakes happen. And if Dylan isn't actually my biological son, if somehow there was a mix-up at the hospital, that would mean Marcus has known all along, has been raising a child who isn't related to either of us by blood, and for some reason he's kept it secret. Why? I call Linda back. I need you to run a DNA test. Me and Dylan. Catherine, I know how it sounds, but Marcus just said Dylan isn't his, and I need to know if he meant biologically mine. Even if Dylan isn't your biological child, he's still your son. You raised him. I know that, but I need to understand what's going on. Please. She agrees, and we arrange to collect samples discreetly. Dylan provides a cheek swab when I ask him to, telling him it's for a health screening through my insurance. He doesn't question it. The results take a week. During that time, I move back into the house but sleep in the guest room. Marcus and I barely speak. Dylan navigates between us like a diplomat in a war zone, trying to keep the peace. When Linda calls with the results, I'm standing in the kitchen, making coffee I won't drink. Catherine, I'm sorry. You're not Dylan's biological mother. The mug slips from my hand and shatters on the floor. Coffee spreads across the tile like blood. That's impossible. The DNA doesn't lie. There's no genetic connection between you and Dylan. I sink to the floor, not caring about the broken ceramic or the hot liquid seeping into my clothes. 16 years. 16 years I've been raising someone else's child, thinking he was mine, loving him as mine. And Marcus knew. I confront Marcus that night after Dylan goes to bed. I find him in his office, going through paperwork, and I close the door behind me. I know, I say simply. He looks up, and I see the moment he understands. The color drains from his face. Kat, Dylan isn't my biological son. You've known this whole time. He sets down his pen slowly. How did you find out? DNA test? But that's not what matters.
What matters is that you knew and never told me. For 16 years, you let me believe he was mine. He is yours. Biology doesn't change that. Don't, my voice is sharp, don't you dare lecture me about what makes someone a mother. You lied to me for 16 years. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you. That's the same thing. He stands, running his hands through his hair. I found out by accident 3 years ago. Dylan had to get blood work done for his sports physical, remember? They flagged an anomaly with his blood type. The doctor mentioned casually that it was unusual, that with your blood type and David's, Dylan shouldn't have the type he has. I did some research and I realized it was genetically impossible for Dylan to be David's biological son. Why didn't you tell me? Because I knew it would destroy you. You were already struggling after David's death. That was 14 years ago, Marcus. You found out 3 years ago. I know, but by then, what good would it do? Dylan was your son in every way that mattered. Telling you would only hurt everyone. So you decided to keep it secret. And then what? Use it as leverage? Is that why you tried to kill me? Because I'd find out eventually? I didn't try to kill you. How many times do I have to say that? Then who did? If it wasn't you, who had access to insulin, to our house, to the knowledge of how to stage it? I don't know. He looks broken, defeated. But I swear on Dylan's life it wasn't me. Don't bring Dylan into this. You've already done enough to him. What does that mean? It means you've been lying to him too. Does he know that I'm not his biological mother? No, and he doesn't need to know. That's not your decision to make. Yes, it is. I'm his father. I've raised him since he was 2 years old. I get a say in this. The claim enrages me. You're not his father, not biologically. By your own logic, that shouldn't matter, right? Biology doesn't determine parenthood? He flinches. That's different. How? How is it different? Because I chose to be his father. I chose to love him, to raise him. I didn't accidentally get switched at a hospital or whatever the hell happened with you. The words hit like a physical blow. Get out. Kat, get out of this house, now, before I call the police and tell them everything. You can't kick me out. I live here. It's my house. My name is on the deed, not yours. So yes, I can kick you out. Get your things and leave, Marcus. I'll give you 30 minutes. He stares at me, and I see something shift in his expression. Desperation giving way to anger. You're making a mistake. Pushing me away. Pushing Dylan away. When you find out the truth, the whole truth, you're going to regret this. What truth? What else haven't you told me? Ask Dylan. Ask your son what he knows about that night. Then he leaves, and 10 minutes later, I hear his car start and pull out of the driveway. I stand in his office, surrounded by his books and his degrees on the wall and the family photos that now feel like lies. And I wonder if I ever knew any of them at all.
I don't sleep that night. Instead, I sit in the dark living room, watching the street through the window, waiting for sunrise. At 6 a.m., I hear Dylan's alarm go off upstairs. I hear him shower, get dressed, come downstairs. He stops when he sees me on the couch. "Mom, what are you doing up? Where's Dad?" He's gone. "Sit down, Dylan. We need to talk." He sits, and in the early morning light, I study his face. Brown hair like David's, blue eyes like... Whose eyes? Not mine. Not David's. Hazel eyes, both of us. "I need you to tell me the truth about the night I was poisoned," I say. "And before you answer, know that I already know you've been lying. Marcus told me to ask you. So please, Dylan, no more lies." He's quiet for a long moment, his hands clasped between his knees. "I knew Dad was in trouble, financial trouble. I saw the letters from the IRS,
the collection notices. He tried to hide them, but I found them in his office a few months ago.
And you didn't tell me?
He asked me not to. He said he was handling it, that he didn't want you to worry. He said he had a plan.
What plan?
I don't know. He wouldn't tell me, but he started acting weird, secretive. And then he asked me about your life insurance policy, about what would happen if you died.
When was this?
About 2 months ago. It freaked me out, but I thought maybe he was just being practical, making sure things were in order. But you suspected something. He nods miserably. I started watching him, following him sometimes. I saw him meet with Jennifer, saw him acting all secretive, and I found the insulin. My breath catches. You found the insulin? In his office, hidden in a locked drawer. I broke the lock one day when he was at work. When I saw the vials, I knew something was wrong. You're not diabetic. Why would he have insulin? Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe Dad would hurt you. So I took one of the vials. I thought if I removed it, maybe he couldn't go through with whatever he was planning. Dylan. But then he bought more. I saw the packages arriving at his office. He had them shipped there instead of home, and I realized he was really going to do it. So what did you do? He looks at me, and there are tears in his eyes. I bought glucagon from a Canadian pharmacy, same place he got the insulin. I figured if he was going to poison you, I needed to be ready to save you. I hid it in the bathroom cabinet, and I made sure I knew how to use it. The text from Marcus's phone. You sent it, didn't you? He nods. I cloned his phone. There are apps for it. It's not that hard. I've been monitoring his texts, his calls, trying to figure out what he was planning. That night, I saw him get up around 10:30. I was pretending to be asleep, but I heard him go into your room. So I sent the text from his phone to my phone, making it look like he was asking me to come home early. That way I'd have an excuse to come back early. You saved me. I tried, but Mom, I was too late. When I got there, you were already seizing. If I'd been 5 minutes later, his voice breaks. I pull him into my arms, and he cries against my shoulder. This boy, this young man who's been carrying this terrible knowledge alone. Why didn't you tell the police? I ask him when he's calmed down. Because he's still my dad. I know he tried to kill you, but I couldn't bring myself to turn him in. I thought if you survived, if he saw what he'd almost done, maybe he'd stop. Maybe he'd get help. Oh, Dylan. I'm sorry, Mom. I should have told someone. I should have stopped him before he hurt you. You did stop him. You saved my life. But I let him try. I knew what he was planning, and I didn't tell anyone. What does that make me? It makes you a 16-year-old boy caught in an impossible situation. We sit together as the sun rises, and I realize that Dylan has been protecting both of us, me from Marcus, and Marcus from the consequences of his actions. But now, it's time for consequences.
I call Detective Rivera and tell him everything. Dylan's confession, the cloned phone, the stolen insulin vial. Within an hour, Rivera and Kim are at my house, taking Dylan's statement officially. We'll need to bring Marcus in for questioning, Rivera says. Do you know where he is? He left last night. I kicked him out. I don't know where he went. They put out a BLO, be on the lookout, for Marcus and his vehicle. Meanwhile, they obtain a warrant to search his office at the law firm more thoroughly. What they find there changes everything. Rivera calls me that evening. Mrs. Morrison, we need you to come down to the station. There's something you need to see. I drive down with Linda, leaving Dylan with Rachel. At the station, Rivera leads us to a conference room where evidence is spread across a table. We found these in a safe in Marcus's office, he says, gesturing to a stack of documents. They're dated, going back 16 years. I look through them. Hospital records from Riverside General, birth certificates, DNA test results, and a letter written in Marcus's handwriting. Catherine, if you're reading this, then something has gone terribly wrong.
and you've discovered the truth about Dylan. I need you to know that I never meant to deceive you. The deception began before I was even part of your life. Dylan is not your biological son. Your biological son died during childbirth. He was stillborn. The hospital made a mistake, a terrible, catastrophic mistake. They gave you a baby who had been abandoned by her birth mother hours earlier. A baby who was born the same night, who had a similar birth weight and appearance. The nurse who made the switch panicked when she realized what she'd done, and rather than confess, she altered the records. David knew. He was there, awake during the C-section. He saw the stillborn baby, saw the switch happen. The nurse begged him not to say anything, said it would destroy the hospital, destroy her career. David looked at you unconscious and vulnerable, and he looked at the baby boy in his arms, and he made a choice. He decided to let you believe this baby was yours. I found out about this 3 years ago when I started investigating Dylan's medical records. I tracked down the nurse. Her name was Patricia Whelan. She's dead now, died from cancer 2 years ago. Before she died, she wrote a confession which I've included with these documents. I kept this secret because David asked me to. Yes, he and I knew each other. We were friends in college, lost touch shortly before his death. He made me promise that if anything happened to him, I would look after you and Dylan. He made me promise never to tell you the truth. When David died and you and I became close, I honored that promise. I fell in love with you. I fell in love with Dylan.